2 royal children vanished inside the Tower of London. And for 5 centuries, the world has wondered, did a king murder his own nephews to seize the throne? In the summer of 1483, England was shaken by a mystery that would haunt its history forever. 2 boys, Edward V and his younger brother, Richard, Duke of York, entered the Tower of London. They were heirs to the throne. They were symbols of hope after decades of war. Yet within a few months, they disappeared without a trace, and the man who took the crown after them was their own uncle, Richard III. To understand what happened, we have to begin with the death of their father, King Edward IV. His death was sudden, unexpected, and left his 12-year-old son as the next king. Edward V was still a child, but he carried the weight of a kingdom on his shoulders. His 9-year-old brother would stand beside him. As tradition required, Edward was taken to the Tower of London to prepare for his coronation, not as a prisoner, but as a king awaiting his ceremony. His uncle Richard, Duke of Gloucester, was appointed protector of the realm. He was known as loyal, disciplined, and capable. For years, he had defended the crown faithfully, but loyalty in the Wars of the Roses was fragile, and power reshaped men quickly. Within weeks, Richard made a shocking claim. He declared that Edward IV's marriage to the prince's mother was invalid. According to Richard, the boys were illegitimate and had no right to the throne. Parliament accepted his argument, and in a stunning turn of events, Richard was crowned king, as Richard III. But while Richard ascended to power, something unsettling happened behind the stone walls of the tower. The princes, once visible to attendants and guards, were moved deeper inside. Their servants were dismissed. Their public presence, once a reassurance to the people, faded to silence. The last known sighting of the princes came in late summer, when a guard claimed he saw them playing in the tower courtyard. After that day, the boys were never seen again. Rumours whispered through London. Some said the princes had been smothered. Some believed they were secretly taken abroad. Others thought they died of illness, and their deaths were hidden to prevent rebellion. But the theory that took hold, and the one repeated through centuries, was simple, that Richard III had them killed. The case against Richard seems, at first glance, compelling. He had motive. The living princes were threats to his newly acquired throne. He had opportunity. The tower was under his authority, and he had silence. No one dared question the new king. Richard never produced the boys alive. He never addressed the rumours directly. He never ordered an official investigation. To many, his inaction looked like guilt, or at least awareness of a dark truth. Foreign observers wrote letters accusing him. Later, historians painted him as a tyrant, and Shakespeare would immortalize him as a villain, cementing the public belief that he killed the princes to secure his crown. There are alternative suspects, figures who also had motives strong enough to rival Richard's. One was Henry Tudor, the man who defeated Richard and became King Henry VII. If the princes were alive after Henry's victory, their claim to the throne would be far stronger than his. A single rumour of Edward V's survival could have destroyed Henry's dynasty before it began. Some historians argue that if the boys were alive when Henry became king, he had every reason to eliminate them quietly. Another suspect was the Duke of Buckingham, once Richard's ally, later his enemy. Buckingham was ambitious, unpredictable, and eager for power. Some believed he acted alone, killing the boys either to weaken Richard or to win favour with Henry Tudor. And then there is the quietest theory of all, that the princes may have died naturally. Disease was common in the cramped corridors of the tower. If they died from illness, Richard may have feared that announcing their deaths would spark rebellion. Concealment, not murder, could have been his choice. The truth may never be known. In 1674, nearly 2 centuries after their disappearance, workmen found a wooden box beneath a staircase in the tower. Inside were the bones of 2 children. Many believed they were the remains of the missing princes. The bones were reburied with honour in Westminster Abbey. But modern scientists have never been allowed to perform full DNA testing. The question of identity, fact, and truth remains locked away. Richard III's legacy was shaped not by facts, but by the story that survived him. To some, he was a villain who killed his nephews for power. To others, he was a capable leader, destroyed by propaganda and political enemies. The princes themselves became symbols of innocence lost, reminders of how fragile royal blood could be in a world driven by ambition. So, who killed the princes in the tower? Was it Richard III, securing his crown through blood? Was it Henry VII, protecting his fragile new dynasty? Was it an ambitious noble acting in the shadows? Or did the boys die quietly, victims not of murder, but of the age they lived in? We may never know, but the disappearance of the princes endures as one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries, a story of power, fear, and two boys whose fate changed the course of England forever.